Hey bro, you wanna collab?
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome back after so long to Extra Reverb. Yeah, we've been gone again. And long story short, Coker left. And it took us quite a while to drag it out of him that he didn't want to be a part of the podcast anymore. When he finally did admit that he was done with it, we decided to ask him, can we please carry it on, just the two of us? And he said, sure. So we figured we like the dynamic of three hosts. So we would try to get a guest on every episode, and that's where we are today. So for today's guest, the first guest of the revamped Extra Reverb, we have a good friend of mine named Daryl, who is better known now as Suncell.
Hey, thanks everybody. It's great to be here.
And I just realized I forgot to introduce Jacob.
Hello, I'm the other guest. You won't be seeing me next week.
Yeah, that's funny because we already recorded next week's episode. That's hilarious.
Nice.
Anyways,
I'm just a guest for every episode. It's a quinkadink.
I don't know what to tell you. Jacob's going to be a guest for every episode.
Yep.
That's just the way it is now.
I'm just such a beloved guest. Everyone's like, encore. So like, all right, one more. Here we are.
One more.
But no, we are here to interview Suncell, man. And I gotta ask, and this is what Awesome is gonna ask you, but I'm gonna do it first. How you doing, man? What's going on?
I'm good, man. Like I'm real good. Well, actually, like I'm pretty tired. Okay, so like before we actually like kick everything off, so this is, I think it's been like a year since I've spoken like to any Americans. So like my accent kind of went away. Like so I'm still trying to find the cadence back, because I think the way that I normally speak, I don't know if it'll translate real well. So I'm still trying to find my bounce back, you know, in terms of like
Bruh, just use the accent that you use when you're singing. Everybody can understand.
I sing American though.
Exactly.
My accent is Tom DeLonge, so whenever I'm
Nice.
talking, like, hello there.
Nice.
And I'm so sorry. Okay.
I'm so sorry for being late to the podcast.
That's prime. That's
Cannot
like,
sleep. I'm kidding. Oh,
that's the
man.
best accent though. Like
No, really. Like in most of my music, I sing like Owl City. So I'm like, hello guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, so I sing American now. So you know.
Yeah.
It's funny because Adam kind of sings like Tom too sometimes.
Yeah,
But
back then
anyways,
he
yeah.
did. Yeah, it just shows how influential that stuff was. But we're not here to talk about Blink all the time, even though I usually do.
Yeah.
Hey, I used to be really big into Blink. So
Oh man, we're gonna get along then. Yeah, I'm a big Blink and Angels and Airways fan.
You have these 333, right? Like the
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Epiphone
I
ES333.
used to have that too.
The Tom DeLonge. You
I
used
to have
to?
that too.
What do you mean used to, man?
No, okay, well, technically I still do, but like,
Okay.
yeah.
Is it still in America?
No, it's not. I never brought it over, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like at like a parent's house or something?
Yeah. It's still at home. Like it's
Okay.
in a corner somewhere, but like, you know,
Yeah.
Hell
man,
yeah,
I'm trying to excavate the Dirty Fingers pickup. Like,
Dude, I need to do that. Oh, you know what? Mine's I think already has them, I think.
yeah.
No, they come with them.
does.
Sorry, I was thinking of
Yeah.
something else. There are good pickups for sure if you want that
Yeah.
pop punk distorted sound. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So I might look into taking that out, because the guitar itself is real old. So like,
How much are the pickups themselves? They're not too expensive, are they?
Dirty Fingers pickups, I mean, they're not like super expensive, but like they're still kind of premium, you know?
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah, $150 right here. Yeah, they're kind
Yeah.
of expensive for pickups.
they're
I'd
kind of
say.
expensive for sure. Yeah. So
I don't
Yeah.
have any experience soldering, so I'd be afraid to do something like that personally. Although it's something every not musician per se, but anyone that deals with, gear and guitars and stuff, it's a great skill to pick up on.
technically, Austin
pickup.
and I know how
Very
to
nice.
solve.
And yes, we do. I
Pun
was about to
intended.
say that.
Yeah.
We have experience soldering. And the reason I asked Daryl if that guitar was still in America is because Daryl left a lot of stuff in America, if I'm not mistaken, including his keyboard, which he later just said, you can have, Austin. So that's why he's
sick.
cool.
Yeah, it's a 88 key.
What keyboard?
Audio Key Station 88.
Ah.
Yeah, I left a lot of things back
Can't borrow
there.
any of your gear. I'm still here. You know, I might need some.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if I had any gear to loan out left, like, for sure, dude. But, like, I think I loaned out so there's that 88 key. I loaned out a guitar. Like, it's like a Guild acoustic. I think it was really nice too. Like, I'm still quite bummed about
Oh,
that.
dude, that was the one you were pulling up with in school, wasn't it? With their leather jacket.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the little one. And
I remember that.
I left a pair of like PreSonus, like those like really cheap ones, like the E
Headphones?
no, the
monitors.
studio monitors. Yeah, the real small ones, like the rinky dink.
Oh, okay.
Like I think it was like the Iris 3.5s or something. Yeah.
Oh, Eris 3.5s. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That
Those are the small ones.
I basically loaned all these things to like our schoolmates, and I don't think I'm ever gonna get that back, but it's okay. Like,
No, probably not. You know how that goes. Lend it out to Jared from bass class, and there you go.
man, America is huge. You know, like I ain't about to take a like cross country trip just to collect gear. Like that's not how it works, and then bring it back.
Bounty
like,
hunting gear.
Nah.
Maybe one day when you're here to get a Grammy or something.
Oh no, I doubt. I think you have a better chance of getting a Grammy than I do.
I think
We'll
both
see.
of you should collab and increase your odds of getting a Grammy.
You know
That's
what?
true.
You know
like,
what, Jacob?
Statistically, the numbers work out.
You know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I have been waiting on this punk to send me his stems to be remixed for about 2 years now. He said he wants me to remix one of his songs.
I still do.
He's like,
though.
all right, hold up.
It's
I'm still working on it.
So I think from that time that I was talking about that, I don't think I'm putting out that song anymore. Like, but I have now ripped off the Band-Aid and started putting out like songs, right? So I have like a solid release schedule over this year. So like I will send you something.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I have at least 3 more singles coming out this year. I'm not too sure.
Very nice, including one that just came out. We can just go ahead and talk about that.
Yes, sir.
Daryl has a new song out called Landline.
Yes, sir.
And you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a song I wrote last year, I think. So all the songs that I'm putting out now have been like finished like at least last year. So like a lot of this stuff now is just like I was gonna say posthumously, but they're not did. So like
Well, not yet.
not yet. Like, you know, give it some time. But yeah, it's kind of like a backlog of stuff that I'm putting out. So yeah, this song I wrote last year, it's kind of like a post-punkish Joy Division / like New Order thing kind of going on. I don't like the like name drop references, but like that's kind of the vibe I was kind of going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, like whenever I hear like Daryl's music, it always reminds me of like, oh, it's like that music. Like you've heard it, but it's kind of hard to describe. And it's also really hard to name like an artist that's like that for me. And I was gonna add, when we were preparing for this, I shared that song with Jacob, and he instantly liked it. And that's notable because Jacob hardly ever listens to anything outside of his Blink-182 / Angels and Airwaves, Owl City / Sky Sailing, and Chain Gang of 1974 circle.
Oh, all right.
So,
Sometimes Lynn's get sprinkled into there.
That's
Okay,
a
that's
stack
time
lineup.
rush.
so yeah, okay. And then, but yeah, like
Rush.
Jacob, like he instantly was like, "Yo, I like this. So all you guys listening, I bet you'll like it too. Feel free to check it out. We'll have a link in the description.
Thanks, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
sirs.
I mean, I've kind of been, I wouldn't say getting away with like, and this is like some inside wrestling type, like I've been getting away with getting playlisted on like Spotify and stuff, like just cause like where I'm from, like not a lot of people make this kind of music. So so yeah, I'm always kind of like the anomaly when it comes to like the New Music Friday Singapore or like the in the Asiatics, you know, like it's I've been pretty blessed in that sense. But yeah, like I really like the song. I recently had to play like a strip show, and then I had to put together like a strip version of that song too. So you know, like it's been a pretty wild year so far.
Yeah. We'll talk about the Spotify thing later too.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everybody go listen to that. All right. So my next question is, how/when did you start making music? And like what's been your DAW journey and, you know, all that?
So before I actually came to the States, I did a year of school also in audio engineering. So that's kind of where like I started out recording. They made us use Logic, which is, you know, I mean, I still use it to this day. I think for now, like at least on production level, I still am the most comfortable on Logic. But I'm trying to, you know, be a bit more open-minded just because, like, I have to use multiple DAWs. It seems to me like I keep switching DAWs, which is not the best situation to be in. But yeah, I still produce on Logic. I actually can mark, like, my musical, like, where, like, my recording journey began. It was in 2019. Because I started in January too. Like I started in school in January. So before that, I had no like idea of like how to use anything basically. So yeah, it's been like it's been a while, 3.5 years, man. Like,
but you were playing before then, right?
Yeah. So I dabbled. So I play guitar. Like you know, like playing guitar just good enough to like look cool. Like that's kind of that was kind of like the MO. Like yeah, so I just played. I was playing in church for a while, and then I stopped. And then once in a while, you get together with friends and jam. But other than that, like it's never been like a serious thing. I wouldn't say it's a very serious thing now too, but like you know, I guess coming into like the recording,
it's all relative.
Yeah, coming into like recording realm, and like actually having it recorded kind of changes the game a little bit. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been a 2.5
Have something
years
to point to and be like, I made that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking of like building up your career and stuff, I'm curious as to where you took inspiration to get like your style of music, that Suncell vibe. There were some bands that we were looking at and artists that we were looking at. The one that jumped to mind for me, I know I said earlier you can't name any artists, but there was one that kind of, sort of, you reminded me of, and that is a guy you see on YouTube named Fum Vifirut, and I really hope I said that right.
Right, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
I think, yeah.
The Hello Anxiety
I actually,
guy.
like, I'm saying that name like so casually, but like I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Like,
yeah. But no, like the voice, the guitar styling,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. And
That's
then
cool.
there's a band called Wallows.
Right.
Yeah.
Jacob pointed this out to me. I can't remember. Who did you say his band was? The guy
So,
from...
I don't know if you've ever seen 13 Reasons Why. The main character,
no,
Clay, what's his name? I'm blanking. It's something, it's going to make me mad. I can look it up real quick. It's going to take me, Dylan Minette. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But his band actually reminded me of your music a little bit. Or not as much your music, but Fum Vam Fruits. Sorry, I can't pronounce it either. So, you know, I started listening to Hello Anxiety, which I really liked the music video to that, by the way.
Oh, right.
And the first thing that popped up in my head is like, it reminds me of that one song by them. And I don't listen to them enough to know. I do follow them on Spotify, but again, I'm in a circle of what I listen to. So, I was just wondering, like, if you knew him at all. There's also another band I listened to called The Chain Gang of 1974.
Yes, sir.
That your music kind of reminded me of.
I'm very familiar. Yeah, yes.
Very familiar with Wallows,
Chain Gang?
you said?
Like,
you know Chain
Gang.
Austin, I told you. Let's go. I love Chain Gang,
man. Let's go, baby. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I discovered Chain Gang through GTA 5, I think.
Me too. That
Yeah,
sleepwalking.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Dude.
sir. Yes, sir.
Our scopes are just aligning just more and more, dude.
That's right.
You know?
Give it 5
kinda
more
funny.
minutes, you know, like.
Got 5 more minutes, you'll find out. Actually, I'm your long lost cousin.
We're related. I'm from Singapore.
What?
Actually, it's kind of funny. Jacob does have a bit of Filipino in his blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
That's kind of close.
yeah.
That's kind of close,
Well,
yeah, geographically,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So did you take any inspiration from any of that?
It's kind of like subconscious, right? Like I don't. Well, most of the time I don't sit down and be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna like produce this kind of song.
Yeah.
But Chain Gang is a pretty good comparison, I guess, just because it's still pretty electronic, but like, you know, it's still a bit grimy, I guess.
very alternative.
Yeah.
Yeah, very alternative. That's the word. Like, yeah, alternative. You know, so every time someone asks me what genre it is, I just say like alternative or like indie. Like, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like all these cop out answers.
Yeah.
But so my parents are pretty into music too. And I would say like the closest thing I could compare myself to in terms of genre to them is like Depeche Mode. I don't know if you know like this band Depeche Mode. Like they're like an 80s band.
I didn't understand you at first, but yeah, I've always
Depeche
pronounced that Depeche Mode.
Depeche
But
Mode.
yes,
Depeche Mode, come on, man.
You're
Depeche
right.
Mode,
You're right.
right?
Depeche Mode. Yeah, I know. I've heard like their songs on like classic throwback radio. I cannot
for
name a
sure.
single one at the moment, but I know I've heard them. What's their most popular song?
Well, they have many. I would say Enjoy the Silence is a pretty popular song. That one song that Marilyn Manson covered, Personal Jesus. I don't know if you know Personal Jesus.
No, I don't know that one.
Reach out and
What's
touch
another
me,
one?
you know? Like, yeah, there are a few. It's kind of a situation where like if you go to like the Spotify and you click the first one, like, oh, okay, I think I've heard this song before, or, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I guess kind of the closest thing I would say, just cause like it's pretty electronic, but like they bounce around in terms of like genre a lot too. But there's some like consistency in that, which is what I'm trying to go for. So the past 3 songs have been pretty electronic. I think the next few songs, they're supposed to sound like, you know. Actually, Austin, the next single I'm putting out is the one like I did for like one of the portfolio classes.
Oh, that's
If
cool.
You remember that? Yeah.
I remember the key of the song, and I remember thinking this song is so Daryl. You know, it's like nobody else did a song like that. So yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Hey man, you know.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I was just kind of wondering how you go about writing your music. You know, do you like to do it, you know, you have a paper, you have a notebook, you're just kind of
Oh,
out and
man,
about, you're on your
that's the
computer,
question.
music first or lyrics? Like, what's your
Yeah.
process usually?
Generally, I do music first, just cause like, yeah, lyrics are hard, man. Like,
Yeah. I don't know how you do lyrics before music easily. Like, I need to kind of hear what I'm singing to before I write
Yeah.
anything.
for sure. It's usually like really talented pop people that go like, you know, they just hum something and then be like, you know, like you see like all
Charlie
these
Puth, right?
Yeah, like all these perfect pitch guys, you know, they just and then they just make a song. Like,
It's like
I
why
do
can't I
man.
have that skill?
I just go, you know, and then
Because it ain't no skill.
becomes like a
Magic.
2.5 minute song.
Yeah.
So usually I do music first just cause, yeah, like you said, like I need something to kind of like write over. And then, yeah, I don't know, lyric wise, it's just kind of like, I start with a line and then just build around it. I think everybody does that.
Yeah, sure.
And I mean, this is something I've only realized like recently, which is that like, I don't really know what I'm writing about either. Like
I don't
like,
either.
yeah, you just write, right? And then you finish it. Like it still has to kind of like make some narrative sense, but I only
usually-
find out later. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually come up with the narrative after the song written. And I'm like, yeah, you know, to me, I think the song, you know, this, and that. It's funny because the way I write music actually is pretty linear. I'm like, all right, here's the beginning of the song. What do I say? Like, I don't even do like, oh, I'm going to work on the chorus. And like, I usually write,
Oh, that's cool.
which is really probably not the best way to do it. But in my world, in my brain, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. This is how I start. I need to write music. All right, what's going on? What's this story?
Yeah.
I hate it sometimes. I've been such in writer's block recently. I'm trying to write for my upcoming album. I just can't get the words out because there's a mixture of getting the words out and a mixture of like, but it's got to be like catchy, you know. It's got to have the right melody.
Yeah, for sure.
To it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I usually start out with a line, but I don't really know what part of the song that's gonna be in.
Right.
Like, so it's just kind of like, you know, it's one of those I wouldn't call it a mind map situation, but like it's like it starts from like the inside and it works its way around, and then, you know, then I get the rest of the song. But I never really know what it's about until like when you start writing press releases, like you actually need to tell people what it's about, and like that's when you're like,
Yeah.
what is it about? You know, and then you have to kind of, because you have to sell it to the press too, right? So it's just kind of like, how, like, what do I say? Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting experience overall. Like, just like having to sit, like, you know, you spend so much time writing the lyrics, and by the time you're done, you're just like, okay, I never want to, like, you know.
I never want to think about this ever again.
Yeah. But like then you have to write a press release, and it's like now I have to think about it again. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a real, I wouldn't say a dissociative experience, but like you gotta just kind of like, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of the press, I'm wondering, how did you get so many press things written about you? I keep seeing it on your Instagram. People keep highlighting you.
Bruh, I have no idea, man. Honestly, man, like I'm coming from like a situation where becoming an artist was never like the intention. I'm still kind of like, what's going on? You know, like I'm in utter disbelief of like everything. Like, yeah. But yeah, I'm still, you know, so I think what's happening is because I'm technically signed like by a small indie label here in Singapore. So I write a press release and they just send it to like all these publications that, you know, write about music locally. So yeah.
I gotta ask you, based on that, I wasn't sure if you're on Twitter or not.
I
know
He is, but he doesn't do no music promotion there.
The reason I ask, as far as I know, the easiest way to get verified on Twitter is if you have articles written about you, which sounds like you do. So you might want to look into that, because you might get verified very easily. And especially, I think you want like 5 like articles or something.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
good luck to that, because
cool.
I wish I could be verified. We all do.
Hey man, like
yeah, it's cool.
I'm still gunning for the Instagram clout, you know.
Yeah, man, I know. I feel you.
That's what
Instagram
he's
is
working on, man.
Yeah, that's ultimate like clout.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like in my like small old man point of view, like Instagram clout is still like, you know, I don't use TikTok, but apparently my songs are on TikTok. So
with any like most distributors, it usually goes on TikTok too. I was surprised too when I found out. So it's weird how TikTok works.
Yeah, it's just like, what? Okay, you know.
But like, so they send it out, right?
Yeah, they send it out.
Okay. Well, speaking of like social media and stuff, like just hitting off of that, do you have like any advice for like up and coming artists to try and promote themselves?
Oh, wow.
Like, and even with like the Spotify playlist stuff, I know you said you're really surprised by that, but do you have like any advice? Any tips?
Yeah, so I think in terms of like social media, like, so I'm not like super active on social media. Like, that's just the kind of person like I am. But if you look at my Instagram, like a lot of it is just like straight up like making content to prime the thing for release. Like every time I do a single, like I'll have like a few promo videos here and there. I realized after talking to some like people that they view social media like posts and stuff like as an obligation. It's like, oh, you know, I have to do like a cover photo. Now I have to do like a photo shoot. Now I have to do like content, you know. But I think if you look at it as an extra opportunity to kind of like express yourself and like kind of, in not so many words, like build a world around like your release or like your album or whatever, like it just gives people a better idea of like what you're going for if you have like a visual component to it. So I just look at like Instagram and stuff as like a opportunity to kind of like, oh, you know, like for this latest single, my friend who's technically my manager, but like we were just talking, it's like, you know what, like why don't you change everything in black and white? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like because it fits the song, right? So like I just one day just woke up and like swapped all my like display pictures and like my like even my Spotify pictures. Like I monochromed everything and then I replaced everything just for like this one song, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if like anybody noticed, but like I thought it was pretty cool. Like, you know, just to make myself like giggle a bit. I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I think all these things are like just an extra way to kind of like express yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool way of looking at it.
Yeah, you gotta really just, you know, like own it, you know. It's an extra skill that you have to pick up, like editing and like, you know, maybe like light Photoshop, but like it does pay dividends a little bit, especially this day and age. So yeah. Yeah, in terms of like the Spotify stuff, like I said, I think I've been blessed enough to like, you know, get away with being playlisted just because like number one, like the music is kind of unique, but also I think in my point of view, like record engineer point of view, like I think making sure your songs can like hold their ground in like curated playlists. So like making sure, you know, like the engineering is good enough for like your LUFS level is like, you know, competitive, that kind of thing. The last thing you want, let's say you're like in a playlist and you hear the song before and then you hear your own song and then you have to like start jamming the volume up button, you know? Like
Loudness wars, man.
Yeah, we got
man.
Houston, we got a problem.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that kind of thing too, like it still does exist. Unfortunately, it's like and it's like a show of like professionalism versus like amateurish stuff, like, you know. And it's not, I wouldn't say like, you know, having a soft song is amateurish, but like to the layman, you know what I mean? Like and these playlists are catered for like the layman, so we don't really have a choice but to like just strive for like like a clean -7 or a -5 LUFS, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you just gotta send it, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's chasing the shadow of Yasutaka Nakata, who can put out a master with an RMS level of -3.
Yes, sir. Like just you know, just squash everything, you know. Take no prisoners.
Oh, you know, actually,
yeah.
Okay, I got to tell you about this plugin real quick that I discovered. I found a plugin called Newfangled Saturate, and this is basically clipping.
Right.
And what this guy said is clip everything, but this plugin doesn't just clip, it also artificially redraws the waveforms below the clip threshold.
Wow.
So it's clean. And it's like you have to crank it up really loud before you hear like any effects of clipping.
Right.
So yeah, I use that on everything now.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
So,
like, yeah, I've been like just in like a mixed standpoint, like I've been clipping a lot more than I used to now. Like, and then also like just heavier compression on the way out. Like it's that kind of balancing between like what you learn in school and then like, oh, but like what you really need to do. Like,
You know,
yeah.
Owl City's album Ocean Eyes definitely has a really compressed, squashed sound, and it's really loud. And some songs kind of have that distortion to it, but it's like a clean distortion where like it's supposed to be there.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
honestly, I think that might be even that kind of music, like Fireflies, would be a great kind of mixing and mastering reference to use when completing a song.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think especially that period, like Owl City was like 2000, maybe like mid 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that period, like everything was like super loud. And it's crazy because like you could really hear the distortion and then they play over radio and then you really, you really hear it after a while.
yeah, because radio gets really compressed anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually apparently gonna go on radio soon. So like, I think I'm like holding on to dear life. Like I hope my master can like, withstand the radio compression. You know?
Do you reference on like multiple like sources?
Yeah, I try. Like my like go to reference.
It's kind of hard to without a car.
Yeah, my go to reference is like I put it in my phone and I play it out on speakers.
Yeah.
Because I realized after a while, but I think it differs from phone to phone. My phone has this weird thing where if like there's anything above like 2 or 3K at the sides, primarily like it starts getting like, you know, really gnarly and like, so I don't know what that says about, you know, my mid-side processing, but like I've been paying more attention to that recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to have it translate better. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite monitors to use, my favorite reference is actually my car. Because that's where I listen to most of my music, you know, driving to work and back or, you know, going to drives in the canyon. So it's like, I figure if my song sounds pretty good in the car, it's most likely pretty good.
Yeah,
But,
for sure.
you know, there's always that worry of like, does it sound good in mono? And it's always great to check that.
Yeah.
But like, how many things are mono these days? Because even cell phones aren't even in mono. Like they have the two speakers now, like modern phones. So I don't know. But it's still important to check out.
Well, there is one thing. There is one thing, and that is smart speakers. Even though they're technically in stereo, like it's just one little package. So you're going to hear like mostly mono. And by the way, the Google Home speaker, that is what music is played on the most. So if you want to hear how
disturbing.
How your song sounds on the thing that more music is listened to on than anything else, get a set of those.
I don't think it's possible.
No, nobody needs a set of Tenoys. Nobody needs a set of Yamaha NS10s.
I don't know if you can use it as a speaker though, like that. Like I think it's like, yo, go to Spotify and play this song. Well, if your song's not out yet, how does that work? I don't know if there's like an aux port for that or something. Where you can just
get
play
the drivers
out. I don't know how to do that.
Get the drivers out. Just take out the cones in your monitors and put these Google Home drivers on there.
Yeah, but then it still want to be the same because there's probably more to it than just the drivers. You know, it's probably like the body it's built into and like where it's placed in the house. So that can get kind of intricate if you really want it to be. There's no reason to do it, but
like people have like all sorts of weird things now, like sound bars and like surround sound. Like, but I don't even know what the speakers are.
A stereo,
like so I mean the one thing that was I've seen a lot of like people talk about like how usually they fold their low end into mono just to be safe. But then you hear like hip hop records with like bass that is clearly not in mono. So I don't know what the exception to the rule is. But, you know,
I can check my mixes in mono, but I don't think I'd be able to stand like mixing the whole song in mono. It's ideal because how? Like, I don't know.
You can't do that. Like what usually happens is either during mastering or like a mix. Like I tend to use like a stereo imager to like narrow out my low end. You know what I mean? Like just my low end. Yeah. So sometimes I do that. I mean, it really depends on what you're going for, but sometimes that helps because that's the only thing. Like if you want to check everything in mono too, like. Mostly what comes through is like, you know, obviously there's no side information. So yeah, you're gonna have to like check what's being heard in mono because those should be like the most prominent things. Yeah. Like your vocal or like especially guitar lines. Like there are so many like instances of like songs with guitar lines bend like hard left or hard right. But the only problem that, I mean, it's a cool thing to have, but like the only problem there is if in any case like someone's listening to your song in mono, they won't hear it, you know. So yeah,
I use a plugin called MSED. It's completely free. It's from Voxenjo.
Oh right.
And it's a mid-side encoder decoder, and it lets you can mute the side, mute the mid, whatever.
Yeah.
And even turn them up and down too. So that's really good for referencing as well.
Yeah, like what I do like the I wouldn't say cheapo, but like because we have like Slate Digital plugins, right? I think Infinite EQ has a option to solo mids and sides. So usually I just like stick that on to whatever I want to hear. like mid-side
Yeah.
comparison stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like my go-to thing to do sometimes. But yeah, ever since I started work, I've been blessed with many other plugins. So like, getting pretty spoiled these days.
I'm curious about something actually. What's your favorite reverb to use? Because obviously your music has a lot of reverb in it.
Oh
so.
man. Yeah, like honestly, I just use Reverb. Like I know that's not like a great reverb, but because I've tried like using Valhalla at work, that kind of thing. But like I'm like a really like, I wouldn't say cheap, but like I try to make do with like the most basic stuff, and also because like a lot of like Renaissance plugins are very light on the CPU usage. So I try to go for things that are like pretty common, or like not common, but like pretty low on CPU usage. And if I want to swap it out, I'll swap it out later. It's not a big deal. I actually have a preset for like production and stuff these days. So
that's really good.
Yeah, so I set up like 3 reverbs and like a few delays. Yeah, like you don't really have to think about it when you're like producing, or you don't have to like make it from scratch every time you want to make something. So hey man, if it sounds good, it sounds good. Like I'll just keep it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
a wise man once said, if it sounds good, it is good.
Yeah,
Austin made me a template he made a template on Reason that I also use a lot. It has a couple of reverbs, delays, and I believe what was it?
It was a Unison.
Unison, right.
Right.
I love that template. I use it quite a bit.
Funny enough, I use Valhalla.
Oh, hell yeah.
I've heard
Which one?
great things about Valhalla. I don't personally have it, but
It's real fun.
isn't it free or cheap?
They have a free version, and I cannot remember the name. Let me look it up.
All right.
In the
But
meantime,
yeah, I have a question for you. I saw on your Instagram that you had a concert with, and I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, Kwang.
Oh, yes, sir.
And
Yes.
I was wondering how that came about and what the whole inspiration behind that was.
So like for those uninitiated to Singapore culture, which is like everybody, yeah, so the place we perform is called the Esplanade, and it's kind of like the go-to arts place. So honestly, like again, like I really don't understand what's going on, because this is like my second show and I'm already doing like
you're already at the top, man.
Yeah, I were like getting booked to do that venue in particular. But yeah,
It's like the water ballet place in Coruscant in Star Wars.
Yeah, it looks like what's the closest American thing I can compare it to? I don't know. I'll need to
The
think
Grand
about it.
Ole Opry?
Yeah,
You're calling it the Grand Ole Opry?
Well, yeah, actually maybe like that's kind of a good comparison, because they do like do a lot of other stuff there too. But so the idea for that show was something that the venue actually suggested. Like they asked me to do like a mixed medium kind of performance. So I was talking to like my manager about it. I was like, man, actually, like, what are we gonna do? Like, I don't know anybody. Like, in the case of like Kwang, who is like the dancer that agreed to do it with me, she was like my manager's girlfriend's friend. So like we kind of just linked up based on that connection, and just try to conceptualize like a contemporary dance / music thing. Because if you think about it, like, I mean, you can't really dance without music, so that seemed like a natural connection. And then just kind of like working out the kinks, or like how this is actually going to happen. Like, am I going to dance too? Like, like all these questions.
That would have been interesting, huh?
Yeah. Like the most I could get away with is like a hip bobble and like, but yeah, hip bobbing and but yeah.
Man, so
yeah,
no dancing like Fum did in that video of Hello Anxiety.
That's a goal. That's a down the road thing. Like I don't want to put people off too early.
Dude, he had the moves, man. He had those moves
for sure. So yeah, that's on down the road.
Moves
stuff.
like Jagger.
Yeah,
Jacob,
but also
it'd
be interesting.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh no, it's just more like yeah, it was a pretty interesting thing to do, especially like as a second show.
Yeah.
Because again, like with the whole, if you're just starting out, like nobody knows any of your songs, you know? So you just kind of have to like own the fact that, you know, everybody's hearing it for the first time. And yes, this is how I'm presenting it, you know, paired with interpretive dance. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was just, you know, it's a lot to take in, you know?
Dude, Kwang died, dude.
Yeah.
She fell off her chair, man.
Oh no, that's so okay, funny story about that. Like I thought that was like, so when we were practicing and she did that, I was like, are you okay? And I didn't realize like that was on purpose. You know, so I was like, oh, all right, like, let's keep it going then, you know, like, yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of things I didn't know about contemporary dance, and I feel like now that I've been in close proximity with it, like I understand it a little bit better. Yeah, so it's cool, man. Like it's all vibes, you know.
Yeah.
All the vibes.
Anyways, Jacob, you were wondering about the free Valhalla plugin. It is called Supermassive.
Right, I remember that
Right.
now. That's such a familiar name.
Most of what I hear from Valhalla is always like Valhalla Room or like Valhalla Vintage Verb. But yeah, I think those are the pay ones.
Yeah, Valhalla Supermassive is exactly like it sounds. It can do very supermassive sounds.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really good at that. Okay, so Jacob wrote this question actually. He said, have you made any lifestyle choices inspired from any favorite artist? You know, I think I should let him explain that because
No, I think I
to
get
me-
exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so-
and I have.
Like, for example, like I
Go
started
on.
growing out my hair in high school and I discovered Owl City.
Right.
And then I started singing and like kind of like acting like Tom DeLonge and somewhat dressing like him. Not entirely, but just a little bit influenced by it.
Yeah.
So I mean, literally, you know,
Yeah,
lifestyle
no, I've been
choices.
there, man. I because I did the same thing in like high school too. Like when every teenager was listening to like, you know, Fall Out Boy and like My Chemical Romance and like, you know, some weirdos like us would listen to Blink 182. So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I also did everything you did, including getting like my lip pierced and like
Oh, really? I haven't gone that far in yet.
I've
But
had multiple piercings. Like,
Right on.
they're all gone now. Well, not obviously, but like, I think that look is kind of dated now. But no shade to anyone that still has, you know, facial piercings. I think it just didn't, you know, I didn't resonate with me so much as a 28-year-old anymore. So, but yeah, like I painted my nails black too, like for a long time.
right on. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like the whole punk rock thing really like, you know, especially at that time, like there weren't a lot of subcultures to kind of like gravitate, not as many as there are now. So yeah, like you were either like a punk kid or like not a punk kid. I don't know. Like yeah, for sure. Like that whole Tom DeLonge thing, I fully understand everything you've been going through because I have gone through all of that. And
Right,
then some.
yeah.
I bought a guitar too, man. You know.
Right, that's why I bought an electric guitar for the first
Yeah,
time. That's when I got my
yeah.
Strauss, because when I started getting the Blink
Exactly.
back in 2016.
So yes, 100% yes. I know. I knew what you were talking about when as soon as I heard that question. Like, you know.
That's funny. Yeah. I'm a very impressionable person, so and I think people know that. It's like personality mirroring, except I don't
Yeah.
do it to like, you know, some people kind of use it as a way to like kind of become friendly with people. That's just I don't
Right.
do it by choice. I just if I get exposed to something, I can like easily start acting like that.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not very
Yeah,
original.
it's just like it's looking at something and it's like, you know, hey, that's kind of like what I identify with, you know, like as a person. So like, you know, it's like an extra way to express yourself, you know. So I hats off to anybody that has been influenced by anything, man. Like that's
yes,
what's
we've
up,
been
you know?
there, guy. It's normal.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Like
Just out of curiosity, is there any other genres of music you plan to create, or maybe you do on the side that I didn't catch, or that you're
Whoa,
at all
like,
interested in, I
okay.
suppose?
So I
Like, you ever gonna make a Blink-182-esque song that I'd be the first one to listen?
some Angels and Airwaves. I start singing about space.
Yes. My new song is actually inspired a lot off of Angels and Airwaves.
So I think with the direction I'm going, it's a weird direction just because like these songs are already done. Like the songs I've been putting out, they've been done like for a while. So I think every new thing I'm writing now is pretty different from like what I've been doing recently. So on one hand, like I'm pretty like haphazardly going into this kind of like, because I'm also afraid of losing people. But at the same time, as an artist, I guess, you just kind of have to like, it's like I'm an independent musician anyway. Like there's literally like so little at stake. Like, so just go for it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think down the road, I'm veering a little bit more like electronic, down-tempo stuff. But I told my manager, like, after I do one long form, like, I want to do like a country thing. Like,
Really now?
I've been pretty obsessed with like slide guitars and stuff. Yeah. Like, I want to like fully commit like at least an EP of like just like, like Everly Brothers style, like, harmonizing.
I'm on
like,
that boat where like I want to make an EP of something completely different at some point.
Yeah.
Or to make a whole new like project of it, new artist name and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to sell the fact that as like Suncell, it has the room to go anywhere. Like it's also kind of like prepping people for like whiplash. Like
True.
So you set the stage as a person that, like just makes whatever they want and then you just stick with it. Cause I realized after a while, like, compartmentalizing your different projects, I think it's good if you already have like a strong following.
Yeah.
But I think if you're just starting out, like it or not, like it's already so hard to like get people to like listen to you as an up and comer. So maybe like separating all these different musical projects for a start isn't like the best thing. I think once you have like a strong follower base and like, you get more people know like who you are, like then you have kind of room to like maneuver and like start different projects or, yeah, because if you're the only person doing that project too, like it's kind of like, then it's like, what do you want me to listen to? Whereas if you're like doing a side project with another person, then that's different too. Like, it's a combined effort and like people understand that a little bit better. I don't know. I don't want to like assume what people think, but like, it's just kind of like based off like what I would think,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to be the kind of artist that like nobody knows what to expect coming from me next.
Yeah. So you do that
think
by
that'd be
like
cool.
just like left hooking people all the time. So
Yeah.
like once you keep left hooking people, they brace for it. Like, you know what I mean?
For
Yeah,
me,
true.
I just like I want to produce like whatever makes me happy, like whatever I'm like, let's say I'm really influenced off something.
Yeah, for
if,
sure.
If it's something I really want to pursue, I'd rather do that than be like, well, people expect to hear this.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But I also have that realistic, that feeling where it's like, I don't mind still making, some of these songs that people are used to. And let me give you an example.
Yeah,
Let's
same.
say you get signed by a label, let's say you're Owl City or Blink-182, right? When they sign you, it's like, okay, we've heard this pop song. We want you to make more of that. Now, obviously, I want to make whatever like I want to make and like, be able to have that creative freedom. But I also have no problem at all compromising a couple songs. Like, here is what the people want. Here's what we put on the radio.
Yeah,
because I get that. I understand that aspect of it. I'm not that stubborn. Just give me the platform, and I'll try my best to please everybody and myself.
Yeah, for sure.
People don't know what they want.
People don't know what they want, guys. Come on. And sometimes that's true, Sometimes experimenting is what people really like, but the label's like, nah, dog, you gotta make, freaking nah for the radio. It's fun.
So I think there's a lot of especially like as a up and coming artist, like when you're starting out, like you really have to be aware with like what kind of precedents you're setting, like what kind of songs do you make, is it all over the place? Or like what kind of gigs do you do? Like what kind of shows are you primed to like perform in? Like all these things kind of like will contribute to how like people perceive like your like work and whatever. So
Your brand.
Right.
yeah, it's just like because
Branding's
if you're
important.
hyper conscious about it at the start, like you're basically doing all the groundwork first, and then once you get the ball rolling, then it's just like, okay, like this is the expectation I've set.
Yeah.
So like let's just go. Yeah. It's tough, man. Like, and there's a lot of like as an independent person, like as an independent artist, like because you're in charge of everything. So it's like, okay, like where do I even start? Like I finished the song, okay, now what? Like, oh, now I have to think about like the cover art. Like now I have to think about like, you know, posts and all that kind of stuff. So it does get pretty overwhelming, but you just kind of have to like just keep going. Cause yeah, once you set up the groundwork, it's kind of just all up from there, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't nobody gonna do it but yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of tough now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, switching gears a bit. Before we started recording, you were telling me how you use or how you learned to use Cubase from using it at your job. So
Yes, sir.
please tell me, you said you mainly produce in Logic, so how is producing in Cubase different?
Oh, well, okay. I think on the production side, Cubase and Logic have a lot in common. I think it's getting used to like the routing and how your workflow kind of like becomes a little bit different, you know. I will say Cubase, one thing about Cubase that I realized on the job is that like their inbuilt tuning, like, you know, when you do like vocal tuning and stuff, like that pitch correct
Yeah.
system is really advanced.
Really?
Yeah, it's
like built
Melodyne
in?
level. Yeah, like the inbuilt like tuning. It's called Very Audio. It's basically like pitch correct. but
Reason
it's
has
really
that,
advanced.
Austin, and you know that, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
that's true.
You know, I don't know if you guys have the answer to this. I was gonna ask on Reddit or something, but I'll ask you guys. Like, I don't know if you guys have much experience using Melodyne over other pitch corrections.
Yes.
And I've been wondering how different, let's say, Melodyne is over like Reason's pitch correct. You know, if it's more advanced, you know, if you can get more natural sounding results, or if it's the same exact concept and it's the same no matter what program.
Yeah.
Because like if I found out that, hey, if you use Melodyne, you know, maybe it'll sound like this, it's like, well, maybe I should start using that instead of pitch correcting inside the box, you know, inside of Reason. Because that's
Yeah.
usually how I go about it. You know, no auto-tune plugin, guys. For those who don't know, you know, got to manually do it. Got to drag every note of your voice to make it sound good.
I've been using Melodyne for about 9 years actually, because it actually comes with Studio One, and has been coming with Studio One since version 2, which is what I started on. And
I'm getting Studio One.
now that I think about it, it is actually pretty similar to what's in Reason, except you cannot. You know how you can like flatten the pitch in Reason?
Yeah.
You can't do that in Melodyne. It won't let you. If you want to take out some of the variants and like people who are like too drifty, yeah, it can help you correct some of the drift, but it cannot go nearly as far as Reasons can.
Just saying
That
Reason
said,
is better.
that's because it is based on being like more natural. But what you can do is you can like chop up the notes some more and then edit them a little bit different there. And you know, that helps a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Melodyne is built to be a little bit more natural, and yeah.
Yeah,
Stick
I've
to Reason, then.
only like touched on Melodyne, but I mean the only thing I'm not like super jazzed about Melodyne is that it's a plugin. Like it's not like on like
It's-
other
yeah,
DAWs. Like you have to stick it in a channel strip.
That's problematic. That's
Yeah,
That's
and
why
it
I like
doesn't-
about Reason.
Yeah, just
Yeah, you'd
stick
have
it
to
in a
print
channel
it.
strip?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like
so
as an effect,
for-
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that is not actually true. You can use that, at least in Studio One, you can use that as a clip effect.
Yeah, so Studio One is because it's inbuilt. But like
Well,
for
you
every
could do it
other
in-
DAW.
Yeah, but you could do that in Pro Tools too.
But in Pro Tools you gotta
But
put it in a
with
channel
that-
strip and then like print it. Or like have it
You can do it that way, or you
Yeah.
can do it as a clip effect. But like you said, you're right. You do have to print it when you do that.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. In Studio One, you can always go back to it and fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can keep the clip effects on as long as you want in Studio One, and it can play it back in real time.
Yeah, that's not what I'm super jazzed about when it comes to Melodyne. I would say like
that's fair.
The Cubase Very Audio stuff like is really it's like you can even like you know how like when you sing and then you change your note, like you're basically like drifting up, like if it's like a held note, right? You can actually control like how that like connecting that connecting thing, like how smooth it is into the next note. Because sometimes, you know, it's funny that you bring up autotune, because I've been made to use Very Audio to pitch correct vocals into autotune, and like I've been told to treat it different, like to treat the pitch correction differently if you're going into autotune. So like even like using autotune, like I'm still pitch correcting, you know. Yeah, so it's a
I do that
real,
too.
like,
I've had to
thing.
do that before too.
In the Slate bundle, there's a plugin called Melodyne, which is essentially like autotune except better. I usually do use Melodyne and use that to like get all the blobs, as Melodyne calls it. Salamoni literally calls them blobs, the notes in Melodyne. And I use that to get like all of the blobs lined up. And then I use the Metatune very lightly to just smooth out any of the drifting.
It's about like the
because
smoothing out into like different notes. Yeah.
I can't sing to save my life, but you guys heard the Coker diss track I dropped. That was my vocals on that was Melodyne into Metatune, and then into the Isotope RX plugins, which again I cannot stop singing the praises of, and then everything else after that, EAQ and compression and reverb. And so any other differences you'd notice in Cubase?
Well, it's kind of like a.
How's their stock stuff?
It's kind of the stock stuff is pretty good too. Like
The instruments.
Oh, so I haven't actually tried the VSTs just because like I don't do much. So I don't do a lot of production at work. Like I just do like straight up like either engineering or like vocal tuning and things of that nature. So I don't really, I haven't really had the chance to try out the production stuff. Like even though I plan on doing that on my own time, I guess, you know, just to get a little bit more familiar with like, and the hotkeys, man. Geez, like you know how hard it is to like compartmentalize hotkeys between 3 different programs that you use.
Oh, right.
For real, dude. I mix up Studio One and Pro Tools all the time.
Yeah.
Now, one thing cool with Studio One is they let you load in like key sets from different DAWs.
Yeah,
and be
Cubase
like,
lets you do that too. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but
And I can never remember Logic's.
Yeah.
Dude, Logic, when you press C in Logic for
it cycles, right?
you know, for the count, no, it sets a loop. How does that make any sense?
It's a cycle. Yeah.
Cycle. That's why they call it a cycle and not a loop.
Yeah, that's why it's a C.
That makes no sense to me. In Reason, at least it makes sense. You press L for loop. It makes sense.
Right.
In Studio One, you actually have to press slash. But whatever. I mean, I've used Studio One for about 10 years, so I've learned that. But yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry,
one
what were you
thing
going to say?
I'm used to Reason. You press G and H to like zoom in and out of things. And I
Yes.
try to use that for
Wait,
every
really?
single. Yeah.
Wait, I didn't know that. I've been using Command plus and minus.
Cubase has G and H for zoom too.
Well, you know what though? I don't know if it's the same
I
for
didn't know
Mac
that.
because I'm on Windows, and you know, using even the difference between Reason on Windows and Mac is frustrating to me. So frustrating. It's because it's different.
yeah.
I don't like that Mac has Command and Option and Alt
Right.
because they work differently than how it works on Windows. Control Windows and Alt.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. But what I was gonna say before is it's almost like going between video game to video game, where you're used to one video game's controls being one way, and but then it doesn't play the same the other.
Oh, yeah.
I originally was gonna say it's kind of like switching between consoles, except for the most part, it could still be the same controls technically. It's just the labels are different, so that doesn't really count.
Yeah.
But
it's like going from Battlefront 1 to Battlefront 2.
Well, I don't know.
You can't run in one of them. I can't remember which one. I think it's, I want to say it's number 1. and then-
One is the one you can't run in, I think. There's no sprint.
Okay.
Like that was before.
There's no sprint.
That was before the advent of sprinting in video games.
Talk about original Battlefront. I figure.
Yeah, OG. The real ones. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I remember playing the Battlefront demo. That was so cool back then when it came out. Because like, what the heck? It's Battlefield, but Star Wars. I'm shooting laser guns.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
So I was wondering if you had any guilty pleasure music that you listen to that's completely different than what you normally listen to. Like I've been I like Lights by Ellie Goulding or Just the Dream by Nelly. You know,
I wouldn't feel guilty about that, man. Like that's
not
that's
like
a banger,
guilty,
dude.
but you know, it's kind of like yes, I'm listening to this.
It's like something that no one would think you're listening to.
I usually laugh when I listen to it because it feels like it's guilt. I feel guilty.
Yeah. So me and my friends have kind of come up with this subgenre of music. We call it post irony because you start listening to it as a joke, like ironically, and then you end up liking it. So it goes post irony. Like you actually enjoy that music now. Like I listen to so I don't want to be one of those guys that says I listen to everything, but like I kind of do.
Me too.
So this is a funny story. Before COVID swept our shores, you know, when I was still in Florida, I really wanted to go see Creed live at the Hard Rock Cafe at Universal. I don't know if you know of the band Creed.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
They've been labeled as kind of like a joke, but like I think the songs still bang. Like, you know, funny thing, when my song came out yesterday, the only thing I was listening to yesterday was are you guys familiar with British bad boy Robbie Williams?
No.
Member of Take
Not
That.
him.
Okay, well, yeah. I was listening to his 25th anniversary re-release of his hit song Angels. You can look it up. I'm sure you've heard the song before. It's like one of those karaoke songs. But like, yeah, I listen a lot. I do enjoy the occasional Limp Bizkit from time to time. For sure. Like
That's throwing it real back.
Yeah, dude.
Real
Like
way back.
That when they did the Mission Impossible theme song for like Mission Impossible 2, that was like the thing. Like, you know, it still goes hard. Like so yeah, I do gravitate to, you know, I think in terms of like pop, like in the vein of Ellie Goulding Lights, I think recently I was listening to it might have been Madonna. Like I was listening to that Fergie song. Like I've been listening to Glamorous, like, you know, because Jack Harlow did a song using the Fergie song as a sample. I went back to listen to that Fergie song for a little bit because it's great. It's a great track. Yeah. So sorry, I didn't mean to go that deep, but like it goes pretty deep. Yeah. As far as I can remember, yeah. But yeah, so all these guilty pleasures, like I suddenly don't feel that guilty about anymore. Like, yeah.
That's fair. Well, anyways, we're about ready to head on out and let you go. But before we do, one last question, all right?
Yes, sir.
With all that being said, what are your hopes and dreams for the future?
Oh man, world peace. Dude, honestly, I was telling like my friends this as a joke. Like, I just want to get enough clout to just like stream.
Stream?
Just straight up, just like, and like just sell like I don't know if you guys have like streamers that try and sell like G Fuel, like anything. Like just
I drink
drinks
G Fuel
G Fuel.
actively and I stream on Twitch. I would love to be sponsored by them or
right,
Monster
like, that's just
Energy
the dream.
drink.
That's just the dream. Like
I rely on a lot of caffeine to exist.
that's just the dream, man. Yeah,
Coffee
like,
even.
Just to farm enough clout that you can do that, like on a like regular schedule. In all seriousness, I don't know. Like, so this job that I was talking about, like I really just started out. We'll see how that goes. I'm learning a lot, which is great. And it's like at a super fast pace too, just cause like I only have like two. It's like
Two
me.
songs.
No,
Or two shows,
it's like
I
me
mean.
and my boss, like, and like my
okay,
other
two.
boss. Yeah, so it's like a 3-man thing. So you really learn real quick. But yeah, like I think down the road, like with that whole Spotify thing I was talking about, like, you know, just being aware of like how your engineering is compared to like everybody else on that list. I think as independent like artists and stuff, like that part of like the equation tends to get overlooked. But the reason you don't get playlisted, I feel, is just because like it's not up to snuff if you're comparing it to like pop releases. So I think on my end, what I would love to do in the future, at least locally, is just to kind of like bring everybody to that kind of like standard of engineering. Because like I think locally alternative music gets a bad rep just because, you know, people perceive it to sounding unprofessional and whatnot. So hopefully down the road, as myself, like I could help level the playing field a bit, you know. And I think it's like that in the States too, like especially like with independent like artists on the independents, like, you know, you go record a song in the studio and then you just kind of take it home and like just put it out. Like it just doesn't translate very well, you know. I noticed a lot of studios tend to mix, especially like if it's a large format console, like they mix it like a live show. If you understand what I'm like trying to get at, like they pull up faders, pull down faders, but they don't really treat the material a lot. Whereas if you hear like pop songs, they like, you know, they do all sorts of like wacky like mix stuff that, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so I think
More clean.
yeah, like people on the independents could really benefit from some of that, like at least over here. But I think as a whole, like yeah, that part of like the equation tends to get overlooked. So hopefully, I think the point that I'm trying to prove like with my own artist stuff is that yeah, that kind of stuff does matter. So down the road, maybe like my point will be a little bit more made. Like, yeah, and I could, you know, do more about that, at least locally here. Yeah.
You know, I think I have a new dream, you know, my hope for music. And I think my pay gap, or what's the word? Just, you know, my pay rate, you know, you hit this threshold, pay threshold for my distributor. And I think it's like 100 or 150. Then you get paid out your paycheck. If I could get enough like clout on my music to where I could just consistently just get one paycheck a month, even if it's just that flat like 150, that would make a big difference in my life. To have that extra, like that count as revenue, you know, at that point. It's like I'm making X amount a year from music as opposed to like, whoa, I got a paycheck? Wow, I can't believe it. You know, and you know what? I think my pay threshold is like $10 for my distributor, and I've been paid out like 2 or 3 times. Like you really don't make much at my level. And even if you had some, you know, listens, it's hard to make money off of just listens. Like Spotify pays you nothing.
Yeah, it really doesn't reflect.
It's ridiculous, but it's, you know.
So
just the way it is.
Because like Spotify, all they do is really just host your music. Like you don't upload through them. You don't like do anything through them. You just like, here's the music.
Yeah, you can't even
They're like, all right, here is like 99 point. We'll take 99.9998% of the revenue. Here's the little bit you deserve for making our platform exist. It's like, oh, gee, thank you. That's my hot take for this podcast. It's not just Spotify, by the way, but Spotify is really bad with it.
Yeah, for sure. My label has told me like Apple Music royalties are a little better, but like I don't know how many people use Apple Music.
Probably
at least over
marginally.
here. Yeah, it's a little
I mean,
bit
like
better.
over like I don't know how it is for you, but like my distributor is just like I just upload my music to them, and unless I specifically request it to not, you know, distribute to something, it distributes to everything. It can't.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. Yeah.
Okay.
So you just you know throw a wide net, you know, and see what sticks. Yeah.
Try and not put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think main source of revenue down the road is still like shows and I don't know, potentially like selling merch, and, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's kind of how it's always been, to be honest.
Yeah,
merch and shows is where people get money.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. Like we'll see, but yeah, just kind of like I guess on the independence, like it's funny because, you know, like, I don't know about you, Austin, but like, I still get hired to do like mixers and masters for people.
Yeah, same.
And like you charge them a certain amount, but when it comes to your own things, like, you know, I mean, it's not like you're gonna pay yourself, like, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's also a luxury to be able to do that completely autonomously. Yeah, so I tend to have that at the back of my head, like, because like now I'm not paying anything to be an artist, but like, you know, aside from like commissioning certain things, but like outside of that, like, I don't have to pay for like engineering work. So that's a big advantage that I think should be like, you know, yeah, like we should all know that comes with like a certain privilege, you know, like to be able to know how to do these things. So yeah, it really takes the edge off of being like an independent artist, but like at the same time, it's a lot more work. But yeah, so
Very true.
yeah, so yeah, it's a give and take, but it's tough out there, man. But you know, engineering, where's that, bro? Like, you make very little money and put in very much more work, you know, as if production wasn't enough, you know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah. On that note, we're gonna end the cast, and yeah, thank you so much, Daryl, for coming out.
We're going to
Oh,
end
man,
the cast and keep the pod going, if you know what I'm saying.
Thank you to our
Thank you
other
for
guest,
having me,
Jacob, for
guys.
coming out.
I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you guys for having me. Long time listener, first time participant, you know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, it was great to meet you, dude.
What an honor. Great to meet you, and great talking to you again, Austin. It's been a while.
Yeah,
I will send over those stems soon.
looking forward to it.
You know what? We need to all do a collab. All three of us make something amazing.
Like, yeah, how about we just make another Angels and Airwaves? How about that? Like,
You're
just-
why not?
speaking my language.
yeah. We just, and then like the goal is just to open up every AVA show, not even like put out
Dude.
music. Just like,
I love that. Let's go.
not even to put out music. Just open for them and like
Just
just leave.
open for 'em.
Like, keep
Jesus
your dreams
Christ.
in reach.
I'd be
And,
so
and we
honored.
can get Kwang to dance in the background.
That's what's up. I'll let her know.
Hopefully, she won't fall off her chair and break her neck.
Hey man, it's a job hazard at this point. So, you know,
True.
yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye guys.